I feel like a news anchor. Reporting live from Los Angeles, California, this is Nikki Johnson. Today's forecast is looking quite beautiful. Wait, no, you can't say that. You can't say that when you're a journalist. You can't be adding your own subjective opinions on things. You just have to say objective things. I was playing tennis last week, and as I was playing by myself, my tennis partner's out of town, and I had to play all by myself. I was hitting balls against the wall, trying to get some practice in. And as I was playing, I thought about my schedule in my life, how I've become quite a rigid person. I think I tend to be naturally quite scatterbrained, all over the place, rely on motivation to get things done. So I've had to learn to become a structured, disciplined person in order to have peace and structure in my life and not forget things and not be able to do what I want to do and have goals that I'm trying to complete. So I've had to learn how to work with that, which is hard because I think my personality is very spontaneous. I like to have fun. I love surprises. I love surprising people, but I also love to be surprised. Like if you just show up at my door randomly, I will be so happy and excited. So I know that on a natural level or on a personal level, I'm not the most, everything has to be super planned and everything, but I've become that way. And there are a lot of benefits to living life this way. You get a lot more done and everything is easier in a way. But it's also kind of boring. And I have moments like that where like I was playing tennis. I'm like, man, everything feels so boring right now. I've been in this routine for a while. I usually have to change up my routine every couple weeks. I have to change my training, my program that I follow. I usually do like a 6-week program, and then I have to switch it up. I have to switch up my eating because usually I'll eat things in waves. I'll have like a certain dish every week, and then after a while I'm like, nah. So I do change it up quite often, so that helps. But I do get bored. And then I was reminding myself as I was playing tennis, I'm like, but there's fluidity and spontaneity within structure and routine if you choose to see it that way. So as I was playing, I was like, well, I can decide what I want to do today. Maybe tennis was the plan that I had scheduled or intended to do to get some cardio in. And because it's fun, I was like, okay, maybe I can just do what I want. As long as I'm practicing my proper form and improving in the way that I want to, I can choose to do what I want to do. And it felt kind of like weirdly like this sense of freedom within the structure. And that's how I started seeing everything. Like I can have this structure, but I can have freedom within each thing that I'm doing. So I think that's important, especially if you are on a fitness journey, health journey, trying to change your life to be more productive and organized and all these things that can be quite boring, mundane, and dull. You have to find something that makes it fun, and you have to find the fun within the daily routine. Because most people live for Friday, they live for vacations, they live for margaritas on the beach, and I can't wait till the summer. But how often does that occur? Fridays is only one day a week. Fridays are only one day a week. And how often do you get to take a vacation? Most of us don't get to take a vacation as much as we'd like to. Most of life is boring. Most of life is routine. So you have to find a way to make it fun within that routine. Like, what can I do to make this activity more fun? Or can I listen to music while I do my job or while I try to get this task done? Can I listen to my favorite podcasts or anything that you can do to find fluidity and fun within the structure? I think is going to help a lot. So I think that's an important element when we talk about happiness and joy and peace and finding who you want to be. Find a way to make it fun. If it's not fun and you don't enjoy it, you're probably not going to stick with it anyway. You're going to go, oh, this is dumb. Maybe you try it for a week or so, your new routine, your new life, and you give up. Another thing that I want to talk about is perfectionism. Perfectionism is not real. If you are like me, I'm someone who tries to live my life perfectly. I'm an overthinker. I've talked about this before. If you know me, I overthink. I worry about everything and the future, and I have anxiety, and a lot of people struggle with this. We're living through tough times, especially with the economy. People are choosing between gas and groceries. It's really tough, and it's very stressful. It's stressful as is to be human and be alive and try to keep yourself alive. And if you have kids, it's even harder. And we're really hard on ourselves, and we blame ourselves a lot. It's hard. This stuff is so hard. But I try to let go of perfectionism because it doesn't exist. I can't live perfectly, eat perfectly, speak perfectly. I'm going to offend somebody every now and then. I might even act emotionally and say something out of emotion. I may say one thing and do another at times. But my goal that I'm focusing on is consistency. I'm trying to become consistent with what I do. Not perfect, but consistent. So if I have this workout program, I missed a day this week. It's fine. I'll start again tomorrow. I'll be good. Instead of, I screwed up and I'm not going to have a perfect week, so now I'm going to give up. Because that's how I used to think. That's how I used to be. I used to be so obsessed with perfection that if I didn't do something perfectly, it wasn't worth doing at all. Which, how destructive and ridiculous is that? Even saying it out loud, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe these words are coming out of me. But that's how I used to think. That's how I used to be. And a lot of people are like that. I once heard the analogy for this, or it was like a meme or something. It said, if you dropped your phone, if giving up on your fitness is like dropping your phone and seeing that it's cracked and then smashing it into the wall until it's completely shattered. That's like the same thing as saying, I screwed up my healthy eating this week, so now I'm just going to binge and go back to all my terrible habits. We are quite destructive. Our mind is such a powerful tool, but a lot of us use it in a destructive way, and we're self-destructive, and it's not very helpful. It makes us feel like crap, and when we feel like crap, we usually don't have the motivation to do anything worthwhile or productive or that is actually going to make us happy. As I was saying, I struggled with this a lot more when I was younger. I have grown a lot. I'm not perfect. Like I said, by any means, perfectionism isn't real. I'm not going for that. I'm not trying to be someone who's like, look at me, I have it all together 24/7 and I never screw up. Nobody does. If you see that on social media, it's bullshit, or someone's trying to sell you something or sell you a certain aesthetic or life, and it's not really real. People put their very best pictures and their very best takes online, okay? You're not going to take a picture and go, okay, this is the worst one, let me post it on my social media. You're going to filter through and give people the very best that you have. And it should be that way. That's not a negative thing. But keep that in mind, because we see people's best and we think that that's their all or their consistent state. It's just, oh, look how perfect they look. And they always have everything together. And that's not reality. And most people aren't going to be very transparent about that because they are trying to sell you a certain illusion and an idea of what their life looks like. I think personally what do I think about it? I don't know. I think it's a little phony. I like authenticity and people who can talk about their life in a way. Like I have people in my everyday life that I interact with and they're like, I hear those things like, oh, you're so put together. How do you not drink coffee? And how do you eat so healthy? Or I hear these things, right? I'm not trying to say this to look at me. Make my sound self-amazing. That's not why I'm saying it. But I hear these comments and I go, no, I have more time. Like I hear moms tell me that. How do you not drink coffee? And I'm like, because I don't have kids. I can sleep 7-8 hours a night. You can't. So don't compare yourself to me. I'm sure someday I'll be in a situation where I'm sleep deprived more. And I have experienced that, working on set. There was times where I was working 48-hour days between 3 different sets. And I was going on maybe an hour of sleep. And I was doing all this crazy stuff. And I've experienced that. And it's not ideal. And I try to strive for, like I said, for consistently. I'm trying to create as much or try to have as many productive days and routines and habits as I possibly can. But it's not always going to be that way. And don't compare. Stop comparing. Comparison is the thief of joy. We all know that. And we all do it all the time. Especially if you spend a lot of time online. You're going to be seeing all this stuff. You're like, I'm not good enough. Or I'm not doing enough of this. And Don't focus on that. Focus on you and focus on comparing yourself to you and who you were yesterday and how can you improve based on where you're at, what you have access to, how much money you have, all those things. We all have been dealt different cards. I'm saying such cliche things here, I know, but stop making yourself feel bad. Doesn't lead to anything good. But I do want to share a story. When I was my 20th birthday, so it wasn't that long ago, 28 next month, so 8 years ago, I wanted to have a Roaring 20s themed birthday. That was my vision, and I had planned for this party for a long time. And you have to understand, when I do things, especially, I should really say when I did things, when I used to do things, I planned things so far in advance. Everything had to be perfect. Every detail, every decoration, every cookie, everything, right? I was that neurotic kind of person. I'm not like that anymore. Now I'm more like, yeah, I'll do the best I can, and I can't control the outcome. I'm going to get into that a little bit later here in this episode, but we'll put a pin in that for now. And I was planning this party, and my amazing, lovely soul sister, best friend, I was in Sweden at the time, and that's where I was living. My parents still live there. It's where I grew up, in Sweden. And she came in from Germany to attend my party, and she was so kind to help me set everything up. And I feel like such an asshole for what I did and said. Not so much what I said, but for how I acted, I should say. And I'm embarrassed to tell the story, but it's real, and I'm trying to show or prove a point here. I had this banner, and it didn't say anything on it, I don't think. I think it was a neutral banner. It just was like a gold outline. It was really pretty. It fit the theme. And I wanted to write something on it. I don't know if Roaring 20s maybe, or Happy Birthday, Nikki. I have no idea. Whatever this stupid banner said. See, this is so irrelevant now, but it was so important in the moment to me. And I don't know how it happened. Like I said, this was 8 years ago now. So I don't know if she offered to do it or I asked her, because she has way better handwriting, but she did it. And she messed up one of the, because they were individual pieces for each letter, the banner. And she messed one of them up, and I was so mad. I stormed off into my room and sulked for 2 hours probably. I wasn't sitting on the bed crying, but I was trying to just stay away, because I knew if I stayed there I would say something I'd regret to her. But I acted like a baby, like a literal toddler, stormed off to my room and was prepping other decor or whatever I was doing. And 2 hours later she comes up, and this girl, I'm going to start crying. Need to collect myself here. She had spent the last 2 hours cutting out a shape for, oh my God, hold on. Emotions are a funny thing. You don't always know when they're going to come up, things that you talk about that are going to make you sentimental and everything. I was not expecting to cry over this, but she'd spent 2 hours cutting out the exact shape of the triangle shape for the banner, colored it with the gold edges, and she'd made it so pretty, and she'd put it on this hard cardstock paper, and she made it look so amazing. She'd replaced the letter she messed up on, and I instantly felt like the biggest dummy on the planet for acting the way I did, for getting so upset over a dumb banner that I had this idea of exactly how perfectly it was going to turn out. And it turned out so much more special because she did this, and clearly here I am years later crying about it. And why do I share this story? Well, I shared it because I think it's common, especially among women. I'm not trying to call out women here, but this is common. As women, we are always expected to be perfect. We're supposed to sit still and look pretty and do as you're told, and look at you, you're so cute, and you have your hair done perfectly with your little bow, and we've learned those behaviors since we were really young. And of course, men and boys deal with their own BS that they're brainwashed with from a young age, that they're supposed to be tough and don't cry and act this way. And we're just taught to suppress whatever we feel and what we want to do. And we have to present a certain way to other people and always come off like we have it together and everything is perfect, and we're going to be judged based on what we do. So everything we do has to be perfect. And I think it's common among girls and women especially, and men absolutely, that we're supposed to have it all together. And what we do in a party and how we prepare, it's gotta be perfect. I just saw, well, I see it a lot, but I saw this gender reveal video online on YouTube, and it was really cute. It was like the husband and wife, or whatever, baby mama and the boyfriend, whatever. They were sitting on a picnic blanket and they had a cake, and I guess that's like a trend where you shove a wine glass into the cake, and it's like, oh, it's pink, it's a girl. And which I by the way is fantastic. Please do that. Don't set forests on fire trying to reveal what's between your baby's legs. So watching that, it made me sad because she was so upset that the cake had turned out green, and it was like she started crying, and she's like, it's the pregnancy hormones. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. I've never been pregnant, so maybe it was the pregnancy hormones tied into that. But I also think it was just the expectation that she had built up in herself, or she'd set very high expectations for herself. Like, it has to be perfect, and it's going to be aesthetic, and we're going to record it, and YouTube is going to see it, and everything's going to be perfect. And that stuff is not realistic. And it actually turned out to be a much better moment, because he's like, here, give me a blueberry if it's a boy, or give me a strawberry if it's a girl, and based on what it tastes like, I'll know what the gender is. So he turned it around and saved it, and was really sweet. And I thought about how he responded to the situation, and I thought, we need people like that, right? We need the ones who kind of help those of us who are a little crazy and have these high expectations. Like, I needed my friend. She saved my party. She saved my banner, This was so important to me at the time, and the way she handled it and took care of it and made it so much better and special. We need those people. We need those reminders. And like I said, I've grown a lot in the last 8 years. I'm not as neurotic as I used to be. And for weddings, I think they call women bridezillas, who go crazy and everything has to be perfect. And if a flower is too short than the others, or it's the wrong color, the whole wedding is ruined, and you're missing the whole point of what it is, what the moment's about, what the occasion is about. But I also get it, because it's important, right? When you put a lot of effort into things, you want things to turn out well. Like, I try to put a lot of effort into this podcast that every time I sit down to record, I try to make sure the lighting looks okay. Does my hair look all right? Even though I feel like it never does. And I'm trying to do my best based on the knowledge and the equipment I have. I don't have the greatest stuff in the world, and I don't have the greatest knowledge or skills in the world, but I'm trying my best because it matters to me. I've actually scrapped a lot of videos that I've done before because the lighting was terrible, and it turned out super grainy, and it was too dark, and it matters to me. It's not about it being perfect, but I still want to produce good quality stuff in my life, no matter what I'm talking about, because that's who I am, and I think it reflects who I want to be, I guess. Yeah, who I am, who I want to be. And I'm just working on not being so hard and beating myself up if something gets messed up, and learning to laugh about it and say, hey, okay, I got screwed up. All right, we'll try again, not like ruining a whole 2 hours because your 20th birthday party banner got ruined. Oh boy, what a time. My brain wasn't fully developed, okay? Your brain isn't fully developed until your frontal lobe until you're 25, 26, so I still had a few more years to go there. I know I talked about a few different things here today, but I would boil it all down to spontaneity, being spontaneous, the importance of being able to be quick on your feet and respond to things in a way. And if you're not good at that, understanding that you have to, first of all, become aware of it, that you're not very good in those situations, and learning to control your response in a better way, right? Whether it's your 2-year-old who just spilled their milk on the floor, and you're like, oh, you want to scream at them and be like, what the F? How could you? And you want to, and you're like, no, calm down. It's, what's the saying? There's no sense in crying over spilled milk. Someone came up with that for a reason, because there really isn't. It's a glass of milk. No one's going to die because a glass of milk went to waste. So it's hard, but we have to learn as humans to control our own emotions, because that's the only thing we can control. We can only control ourselves. We think we can control everybody else and tell them what to do and do it this way, blah, blah. You can't. You can only control yourself. And you can also only control two things. We can only control how we respond and how we prepare. Those are the only two things that we have in our control, your preparation and your response to things. You can't control the outcome. You cannot control the results and how amazing or perfect it's going to be. That's not up to you. But you control your preparation and your response to it when it goes sideways or however it ends up. That's all you got. So I think focusing on that is really important, and understanding that we're flawed and we're human. And perfectionism isn't real. I'm going to keep saying that, but it's not. I really say these things to myself. These are all things that I need to work on, and I'm here. I just want to learn alongside other people. I never want to sit on a throne of, look at me, I have it all together, listen to me, I know what I'm talking about. I don't have it all together. I think I have a lot of order and structure in my life, but there are areas of my life that I do not, and that I'm really struggling in. And I'm very thankful to have support and help in those areas. And I've had people like my friend, the story I shared, she's helped me tremendously in life. And I have other people who've just helped sometimes just hold a mirror up to me and be like, hey, Nikki, this is what you look like right now. Or this is how you're behaving, or this is how you're talking. How do you feel about that? And that's all we can do ultimately. We can't tell people to change, but we can hold a mirror up to them and say, this is what you look like. And then usually that's enough for people to go, oh, that's ugly. I don't like that. I don't want to act that way. And it's not an overnight change. You become aware of it. That's the first step. And then you learn to say, okay, well, I can control my preparation. I can learn to pause before I respond to a situation. Take a deep breath. Try to let it go. Look at it from a different angle. Sometimes all we just need a second of just taking a deep breath, or a second to just have a clarity, or step off, go get some fresh air. Anything that you know is helpful to you, to just take a little quick break before you respond to a situation. And when you have a situation that you have to respond to immediately, because it's like life or death or whatever it is, don't judge yourself too harshly based on however you responded. Say, I did the best that I could in the moment. Now all I can do is prepare better in the future to become a better person, but I'm not going to beat myself up for the past. It's not going to get me anywhere. Yeah, that's all I had. Oh, I wrote down travel plans. I wrote down this note because I see this with travel too. People have these specific travel plan ideas, and they get freaked out when they don't know exactly what they're going to do for their vacation, and they don't have every second planned out. And I'm like, for me at least, I'm like, I want a vacation from that. My favorite thing when I was a kid is when it was summertime. And I remember asking my aunt, I'd be like, what time is it? She's like, I don't know. It's vacation time. Like, she's just like, there's no clock right now. The clock doesn't exist. We're just here. We're eating good food. We're swimming, enjoying the sun. We're on the beach. This camera keeps shutting off after like 20-25 minutes. It's really annoying. And last time I talked for like a whole minute and I didn't realize the camera shut off. I think I was talking about my summer memories of my aunt being like, oh, there's no such thing as time. And now I'm kind of like under the same mentality. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to think about the time. I do that every day. I feel like I'm a slave to the clock every single day. What time is it? Wake up. Oh my gosh. Okay, I have to go get ready. Get my lunch together. Pack up. Get out the door. Go to my thing. Go to the next thing. Go to school. Go to work. Come home. Do that. I feel like my whole life is just... And I want a vacation from that. That's what I want a vacation from. I just want to go somewhere. My perfect vacation is like a tropical island, and I just wake up and swim. Just lay by the beach, drink smoothies, eat shrimp and lots of fruit and lots of guacamole, and sleep whenever I feel like it, eat when I feel like it, and just walk along the beach or a town and just check out whatever looks cool. I don't want to plan. No planning for my vacations. But that's also my personality, so, that might not be applicable to everybody. I know some people love to plan everything out, and they have an itinerary. We're going to arrive at the hotel at 8:45 a.m., and then we're going to be in the pool by 11:35, and then we're going to have our lunch at 12. And I'm like, no, thank you. I will not be joining you on your vacation. Have fun. I'll send you a postcard from my vacation where I'll be enjoying myself, free of a schedule. Thank you very much. Take it with a grain of salt, but learn to integrate spontaneity within your structured routine of life. Finding a balance between the two is really what it's about. That's what life is. Finding a balance between scheduling and being spontaneous. I think somewhere in the middle of those two, you'll find the most happiness. And some people lean more towards structure. They need that for whatever reason. Some of us have ADHD and different mental, I don't want to say disabilities, but we have our what's the politically correct term here that I'm looking for? Our drawbacks, setbacks, our everybody has a flaw or whatever you want to call it. Now I've pissed off a lot of people because I didn't say this correctly. I don't know, but you know what I'm trying to say. We all have our own things that we deal with. I'll just put it that vaguely, or things that we deal with, and we all need a different level of structure or and some people need a lot more structure because they're just all over the place and they're just always late and they're always losing their things. And then there's people who are way too structured and rigid and don't know how to relax and have fun. So I don't think you're ever at a perfectly balanced state. I think you're always kind of going between the two. Like you get, no, I've been slacking off a little too much recently. I need to go back to my structure, or I've been a little bit too structured lately. Let me go have some fun. And only you can be the judge of that, because only you know truly what the truth is about yourself. Being honest with yourself is hard. So hopefully this gave you something to think about and consider, and good luck to you in your life journey, wherever you are in life, whatever you may be struggling with. I wish you the very best. I hope you have a peaceful and productive week ahead, and I will be back for more.